Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Always our pleasure to visit with Sean Salisbury. Good enough to be with us here every Tuesday for a couple segments, talk offensive football, talk quarterback play, and a lot to percolate. We talked some LSU A&M there in the last segment. It's an open date for the Tigers, so we'll get into some Bama talk next week with Sean. Sean, the Saints look like they might have Derek Carr back this week, but before I get into what Carr might be able to do coming off that abdominal injury, the Saints did mid-game make a change last week, went from Spencer Rattler to Jake Haener. I kind of want your thoughts first on some of Rattler's struggles, especially considering you had 10 days to get ready. It was his third outing. You were healthier. You had Olave back. You had two offensive linemen back. You had Taysom Hill back, but it was still clunky and nasty. I mean, should we have a higher expectation than what we saw from Spencer Rattler there in that third outing?
Matty, the truth is, I want to sit here and say absolutely. And you know why I'd say absolutely? Because we watched C.J. Stroud last year and watched Jayden Daniels and some of the way Caleb Williams and those guys handle, being rookies that still go through their struggles but make more plays. One is, let's start here. They need the big play ability. I mean, they gave up a bunch of big plays defensively, and they didn't make many offensively. It was just very – when you look at if you just look at and going 2 of 16 on third down, even though the Chargers weren't much better, 2 of 16 on third down, you're not going to beat many people. And you're in long yardage situations a lot of times. With Rattler, I get it. But remember, Matty, why he was, a fifth-round draft pick and wasn't drafted first a couple years ago. His inconsistency. I told you he's got some ability, and we know it may end up being a steal still. Here's the thing, though. That's how rookies play. That's usually how it looks. Complete some, be overwhelmed. And it's not the physical part that I'm worried. Now, he's going to miss them, but what leads to physical mistakes a lot of times is being overwhelmed mentally. And that's what Stroud or what Jayden Daniels are doing, or even Bo Nix at times, hell, even Drake May after he sat a few games, is that they're going to make them, but they get more opportunities because they're the guy, and they've been the guys for the most part, other than May, since the season started. They went through all the training camp, getting it all. So they're ahead, and they're also first-round picks, so we expect more from them. The truth is Spencer Rattler's playing like Bryce Young is playing at times. He's playing like rookies when they first started. And it's the mental overwhelming part of it, because physically they can still throw it and all that, but what happens is mentally, when you're still trying to catch up, and I can assure you, talk to any quarterback that's ever been through it, and Matt, you've talked to a million of them as I have and been through it. From the time you take that snap as a rookie and you come back in year 2, you realize I had no idea what I was doing. And I think I've told you this before. It's the truth. You're really react. Stroud even said, he goes, I spend time just reacting, being a football player. You really don't know what you don't know, and it's a lot. Because unlike college and high school base coverages, no disguise. In college, they do a little more of it, but they get in their comfort zone. NFL, and you're running into guys, they're doing a little bit of everything, and they know. I mean, they're not stupid. That's why they're employed as defensive coordinators. But these are the reasons why he had to transfer, and these are some of the reasons why he wasn't a first-round pick. Is that he became inconsistent and exploded on the scene physically, but then went to another, and then had to get his confidence and all that stuff back. That's well documented, but. I'm not willing to quit on him or a Jake Haener. It's just this is how young guys play. Yeah, we keep thinking it's Jayden Daniels. That's not normal. It wasn't normal for Elway. Look at his rookie year. Now they do spectacular stuff. It's not normal it wasn't normal for Manning. Manning threw almost 28 picks or something his rookie year. That's the norm, where you're not playing. I mean, you'll make some great ones. Now you get a guy like Jayden Daniels who's just different, as you guys well know. And now, I mean, he's treating Sundays as if it's damn near looks easier to him than it did Saturdays at times. Hell, you need to throw him into the MVP talk if this continues, because his impact on what this team's doing now. So I wouldn't – I mean, it's frustrating, but in truth, there's a lot going on that team that needs help offensively, big playability and the rest of it. He just happens to be a product of it, and he's a rookie. And anybody that expected miracles out of him, they're not good enough to overcome for him to be a star. Even then, rookie quarterbacks, for the most part, hold teams down because you got to expand their mental bandwidth, and you just do, and it's normal. So he's not dumb. Not that he doesn't have good football IQ. Hell, I know the guy for a long time that spent all that time in Scottsdale training. The guy knows football, but it's going so fast. Well, Sean, did he played in the SEC? I don't care. It still moves a step quicker. And it's grown-ass men that you're trying to take food off their table. You got 4 kids sitting at home. So it's a different level. And as a rookie, you're just trying to get out of the huddle, let alone trying to complete balls and then have to understand what 11 dudes on defense are doing. I'm not surprised at all that he's had good moments but struggle as well. They'll be grateful to get Carr back because even Carr as a rookie went through his as well.
Any differentiation with Rattler and Haener? I mean, we didn't see a large sample size from Haener. I'm just wondering if there's anything you saw at all.
I feel, to me, just from it, and you asked last week who I thought was going to start, and I said I believe it's going to be Rattler for at least another week. It feels to me like Jake Haener has it feels a little bit more in command. Does it make things happen a little sooner now? It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't a big body of work, but I almost felt a little more comfortable with his grasp of it, if that makes sense. And so that's probably the thing that stuck out. But the truth of the matter is you can't expand it with young players like that unless Jake was playing every down. If he was in Carr's situation where he's a young guy playing every down, or Spencer Rattler, it will get better for them. But watch the decisions. Even when Carr comes back, watch the decisions, how much quicker they're made and how much more command there is. And the little things like that, you have a hard time directing all the traffic because you can't even get out of your own way as a rookie quarterback, regardless of what people think. The way they're playing as a young quarterback and a rookie quarterback, that's usually the norm, especially when you're on a team that's still going through some offensive issues and making sure that everybody's healthy, but also and quite frankly a very new offensive coordinator who's still learning on the fly himself.
With Derek Carr coming back, they said, Sean, he's going to practice. The expectation is he'll practice on Wednesday, and then they'll see how he goes. But I think most people
if he practices all of it, he'll play. You and I both know that.
So when you're coming off an abdominal injury like that, they're playing Carolina, Sean. So, they're a touchdown favorite. How bad is Carolina? I mean, the Saints, who've lost 6 straight, are a touchdown favorite on the road. So
yeah, Carolina's awful. Yeah.
What do you expect seeing Derek Carr come back this week?
Well, I'm assuming, Matty, if he practices, that he's going to be, I would assume, close to full health, right? So if it's 90%, and the one thing about that area, the core part of the abdomen, sometimes when it's a hip flexor or rib cage, it's the torque with the lower half and the torquing and moving. And you're always worried about hits, but just the velocity on a football, because really, when you want to ramp up the arm strength and have to make tight window throws to a coffee can size window, it's the lower half explosion that creates the velocity. It's not a lot of guys, young quarterbacks, they try to overthrow with the upper body and their head flies out of the picture screen. They're not seeing where they throw it. That core and understand the rotation. So that's the one thing that can get in the way. If he's healthy enough to practice and full torque, I wouldn't expect it to be a problem. I really wouldn't. I don't know how much more he could hurt it or if it's a hit that's going to bother it, but that's like interior, whether the soft tissue part of it or what have you. And I think he'll be fine. I don't think you'd run him out there, even though you're desperate for a win. I don't think you're going to run him out there if he's 75%. So I can't imagine if he's fully healthy and then also whatever that pre-stuff routine, whether it's doctor meds or the treatment you're getting before the game, when he goes out there, I wouldn't expect it to be a problem physically for him getting back into his rhythm, but he's a pro, been in it long enough to understand that. So I don't think you're running him out there at 75% because that does him no good and does your team no good. So if it's close to 90% or 85 or 90%, I wouldn't expect the abdomen to prevent him from making good throws and accurate throws. If it does, you'll see the wincing. You will be able to tell immediately on certain throws if that part of his core is bothering him in the abdomen. But I wouldn't expect it to be a problem. If he practices, that tells me he's about as close as you can get to being 100%. And they're going to need him because, I'll be honest with you, even as good as the favorite, if Carr doesn't play, it's a great equalizer. It really is, because young quarterbacks, it's on the road, it's still tough, man. So, and you know how it is in the NFL, 2-3 turnovers, and we saw it in college football the past weekend, the other team wins. So even as bad as Carolina is, but I would imagine that Carr is going to be about as close. And he's probably sitting back watching and saying, I don't want to leave this glove on the mound anymore. I got to be ready to go. I would expect him to be as close to health and dealing with it efficiently. I don't think it's going to be – if he plays, I would expect more than a touchdown win.
Hey, by the way, Jayden Daniels is up to the 5th best MVP odds. You mentioned he should be racing up the board. He's racing up the board right
and he should. And Matty, I don't know how when I look at like the MVP in the NFL, it's not just numbers. Where guys are going to play, and I know they vote on numbers. The 50 dudes who have the main MVP vote, numbers matter. But I also, it's like when Kirk Gibson won the 1988 when he won the National League Most Valuable Player of the Year. They won a series. Is the last time they won, not named the 2020 COVID season, is that his numbers weren't gaudy, but the MVP in the league because of his impact and what he did for the team. While Daniels gaudy, I mean, he's rushed for over 400 plus yards already. He's second in the league in accuracy. Everything he does is spectacular. And you saw the way he handled brilliant. Real quick, man, I got to get this in for you, LSU guys.
You're good.
The brilliant way he handled the last play. I watched every snap of that game because I wanted to see Caleb and Jayden go at it. I did. The way he handled that, nobody even talked about it. A lot of times guys will sidestep, move a little bit, and then throw it. Did you know he moved another way, came back, and then reset himself to make a good, high, accurate, perfect throw that didn't fly 8 yards deep, that if the guy catches it, he's out of the end zone, that wasn't too deep where he's short. It was almost like, oh, man, I've gone over this 4,000 times in my mind. This play's going to work. And I love that they're magnetized to the way he handles his business. And I am such a fan. And he should be in this talk. He should be in the MVP talk because the impact he's made on making the culture there, not just Dan Quinn. Your quarterback is that face and way you're doing it, and he's going about his business. This will end up being you're tied to quarterbacks and coaches as a front office. This is going to end up being as good a decision that front office has made. I know it's a change in front office, but this is one they'll say, look how we started this guy. Because now the next dozen years, I don't have to worry about anything. Just don't keep taking those hits, bud. Don't keep taking those hits.
Hey, man, we were telling him that here, too.
Bruce Matthews and I were talking about that today. We had lunch today. The all-time Hall of Fame great Bruce Matthews. And Bruce, we were saying, man, he goes, Sean, we were talking about him, and I said, he just got it. He got one weakness. And he's tough enough. He doesn't need to take those hits. I said, Bruce, they need a guy like you to go grab him in Washington, grab him by the back of the jersey and say, get your butt down. They'll have time and a place to take on a linebacker or a strong safety or somebody else. But I love him, and he definitely deserves to be mentioned in this because his impact. They're the best team in the East, and I firmly believe that. Maybe not the most talented roster like Philadelphia, but they are the best team right now. And his impact on them he deserves to be in the MVP talk. And there's about 4 or 5 guys, Goff and him and Jackson and Derrick Henry. Why not a rookie? And we've only had one, and that was Jim Brown, who was a Rookie of the Year and the most valuable player in the same year.
Yeah, man. Long way to go, but, man, pacing pretty good so far.
Hey, brother, I'm a USC Trojan. So while I want to feel sorry for you this week because of what happened this past weekend, I know we beat Rutgers, but if you start with an M, we don't beat teams that start with an M, and we've lost 3 of them. So I'm reeling with you, bro. I'm in your pain, the Trojans and LSU, and you just got a better college program than we do right now. Hopefully we'll turn it around. But it'll get better for you. I trust LSU, even though they get some time off and they'll be ready for that Alabama game. But the Saints got some building to do, brother, and I hope it happens quickly for you guys.
He's on Twitter, X at Sean Unfiltered. Y'all get him there. He's the best. Sean, we appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.